This seed spawns you in a world with several different types of cherry blossom biomes spread across hundreds upon hundreds of blocks. Your spawn is located inside one of the most normal looking forests you could probably imagine, but to find some of the cherry blossom biomes, just head yourself off in this direction, past this little bit of water, past these little bits of hills over here, and after going past all these little bits of hills around the place, we're eventually going to run across our first cherry blossom biome. And generally speaking, while there is a lot of hills across the entirety of this one world, they're not really like too unnavigatable. Not sure if that's a word or not, but pretty much it's easy to get up and down on these things, which is going to be useful to get yourself to all the cherry blossom biomes across the world. And this one, by far, is the biggest and, in my opinion, the most beautiful cherry blossom biome inside this entire seed. Take a look at how big and how far this entire thing goes, and take a look at how the generation combined with the mountain generation and with huge cave generation makes for some incredibly gorgeous generation we can see right here. And not only is this a beautiful spot of terrain, it's also a pretty useful spot of terrain, because not only do we have all this cherry wood we can actually use, but we can also use something else inside of here, a ruined portal right here, which is quite a coincidence to have one of these up here. It's also quite a coincidence to see again how big this cherry blossom biome actually is just around this entire place. And if we just keep setting ourselves off in this direction, we could see it keeps going and going and going on and on and on until we eventually reach this huge body of water which completely cuts it off, until we eventually go across it and find even more cherry blossom biome. But if it's kind of hard to visualize what I'm trying to explain with how much cherry blossom biome there actually is in this entire seed, then let me just turn up my render distance to as high as it can physically go and then just take a look at it. And despite the frame rate, we can see that there's going to be a lot. There's going to be an utter lot of cherry blossoms spread across hundreds upon hundreds of blocks. We, of course, have this huge cherry blossom biome we just saw, that huge cherry blossom we just saw, a huge cherry blossom biome we see over there, and a whole bunch of other cherry blossom biomes coming into view way off in the distance over there. So if you like Pinkwood and you like a lot of it, then this seed definitely has you covered. And it also has you covered in the fact that, again, while there is a lot of terrain that goes up and down, considering the fact that cherry blossoms typically spawn on grove biomes, that doesn't necessarily mean they're impossible to traverse. Sure, there are some like lower elevations and higher elevations around the place, but generally speaking, most of it's relatively flat and relatively like segregated to like the between 100 and 130 range in most of this area. So for the most part, you shouldn't have too much problem working with this terrain and working with flattening out things and other different types of things like that. Just be wary of the fact that there's some incredibly massive cave openings around the entirety of where the cherry blossom biomes are, and with maybe a couple of villagers spread across the place around the cherry blossom biomes. And with that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.